Hi, welcome to the Feel Good Factor. I'm Susmita Veganosaurus, and I'm so glad you're here today. This is a podcast about mindfulness, joyfulness, well being for small business owners, creative entrepreneurs, and multi passionate people. If you enjoy this episode, then sign up for my free newsletter, The Feel Good Tribe. Go to veganosaurus.com/newsletter to sign up. In last week's episode, I was telling you about the importance of reading fiction books. Today, I want to talk to you about the importance of stories and storytelling. I ended last week's episode telling you about how reading fiction will help you tell your own stories better, your brand's stories better. A few weeks ago, I was invited to a very interesting lunch where the owner of a restaurant had invited a community of us, a variety of different people who share overlapping interests: veganism, wellness, health, and things like that. And it was a lovely conversation. Some of the people there I already knew, but I met a bunch of new people also, and that was very nice. There was this one older gentleman who walked in, and when I saw him, there was like, it's like as if I've seen him somewhere, like a small familiarity happened, but I wasn't sure. Then I thought, okay, maybe I've seen him somewhere, maybe he looks like someone I know. I don't know. I couldn't quite place him or anything, and I kind of brushed it off also. But then, when once he sat down, and he happened to sit down right opposite me, when he sat down, uh, I asked him what he did, and he said, "Oh, I run this company called Back to Basics." And the moment he mentioned the name of the business, I'm like, "Oh my God, we know each other." Long ago, when I used to, in the early days of running my restaurant, so this was really long ago, 2014. So, more than 10 years ago. Um, at that point of time, he had attended a couple of my cooking classes, and also Back to Basics is they do exotic veggies. They grow exotic veggies, and he had just about started at that time. And he had a smallish plot where, I mean, smallish farm where he was growing these veggies. And we had even taken we had tried to get a supply of those veggies for our restaurant. It hadn't worked out for different reasons, but ultimately we had worked together at that point of time for a very short while, and then that's it. Like, we had not kept in touch at all. But the reason I remembered him is, or rather, more, I would have remembered him anyway, but I remembered him more strongly because of the story he had told us about why he started his brand, why he started his business. That story was such a visually strong anecdote that it had stuck with me. And he's a good storyteller. And it's a simple little anecdote. And he only told what happened. That's it. But just the way he said it, the way he spun the story and put the message across to us, that has stayed with me through all the years. So even if I didn't remember his face, I remembered his story, and I associated that story with the name of his brand in my mind. And so that's how the recognition happened. More than a decade later, I recognized him by that brand name, and the brand name I remembered because of the story. Stories can do the kind of magical work that you can't even imagine. And it's so important to tell people our stories. And stories are everywhere. They don't have to be some, dramatic thing. It can be from your heart, simple day to day stuff. Stuff that, of course, inspired you to begin your business, begin your venture, your brand, whatever work you're doing. Yes, what got you into it. But also stories of the different interesting characters you've met along the way. You know, the nice people, the not so nice people, the and stories of also your struggles and your wins. These are all important things to share with your community. It's so much more important to share them than sharing your products list, your price list, your whatever you're creating and stuff like that. All that is important, yes. People need to be aware of what it is you're selling, right? What your brand stands for, yes. But more important are the anecdotes and stories behind the brand. And stories can happen in the smallest, nicest little ways. They don't have to be like these grand, sweeping things. When we ran our vegan restaurant, a lot of our business growth happened through letting people peek into the stories of the lives of real people, telling them about, of course, our business and our customers, and asking customers to share their experience, all that, yes, but also about our own team, about the different interns we had. We put them front and center. Oh, this person is working with us right now, and this is what we're doing. uh, it it was the people that pulled the people into our business. So look at your own community, look at your own team, look at the people around you who support you, like your customers or supporters, and see what stories about them, those little instances, little things that happen through the day, what can you share in your own spaces, whether it's your newsletter or on your social media, wherever. Where can you keep sharing stories? Because stories stick in people's mind. They have a very sticky nature, which nothing else will have. And stories set you apart because your stories are your own. When I say your own, it's like it can be your own personal story, but it's also stories of your own interactions and instances, what you've listened to, what you've eavesdropped, what you've, seen, heard. It's so nobody can replicate that. So the moment you start sharing your own stories, it sets you apart. There is no sameness, right? Because the more samey you are, the more forgettable you are. I've said this before also. So start thinking of what stories you can share, and in as simple, straightforward words, in your own language, just share them. See the impact it has on your own community and on your own business. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the Feel Good Factor. This is Susmita Veganosaurus. If you're not yet on my newsletter, go to veganosaurus.com/newsletter to sign up. The link is in the show notes. Talk to you again next week. Take care. Bye.